I want to apologize to everyone. I don't think you'll be able to hear it, but if you are able to hear my disgusting mouth flaps, eat this peanut butter. Apologies. I've been running around all morning trying to get all sorts of chores done, and just barely got here, even like half hour late. So my B. That's my B, everybody.
All good. Doesn't that doesn't affect MP3 files, but you know.
Well, I mean, I'm using the fucking what do you call it? The fucking Nvidia bullshit on the MP3 as well. So you would hope that that would fucking work. Oh, is
Oh,
it turned off? What?
I could. Are you switching it on and off?
I don't fucking know.
Okay. All right.
I'm doing my best out here, and my best sucks, as Paige says.
Well, you know, um, whatever. We can just get Alexa to listen to 60 seconds of your voice, and then I can just talk to Alexa.
Just make a whole fake fucking podcast.
I guarantee you that's within a decade is an AI generated podcast that is a conversation happening, and it's going to have a bunch of parts where it won't make sense, but kind
Mm-hmm.
of like other AI generated things at the moment, we're getting to the point where yeah, you can probably skim like 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes of conversation before you detect some weird shit.
Would I be able to have a fake podcast with myself? Because that seems insufferable.
It in terms of content, certainly. In terms of voices, though, you could fake a bunch of shit. You could absolutely just write a script out and or press a button to switch a filter on so that you sound like another person, and then just fake a podcast with yourself easily. Oh yeah, we're definitely already there.
You know, on the topic of faking it, I'm just thinking I could have a deep fake fucking AI robot discussion about how the only thing condoms are good for is faking your orgasm so you can get out of there. It's the only thing they're good for.
I, um, you know who
Yeah?
already has faked a podcast with themselves?
Yeah?
Shari Lewis from fucking Lamb Chops Play Along had an
Oh,
entire
holy shit.
career based on making a fake podcast with herself and putting on a filter for the second character.
You know what I don't understand about Sherry Lewis and Lamb Chop and Charlie Horse and all those guys? That was during this weird process of part of my childhood where there are a bunch of shows that I would watch all the time and I fucking hated them. Like, I don't think I enjoyed a single fucking episode of Rupert the Bear. I think Rupert the Bear can fucking go to hell and die. I think I've seen every single fucking episode of Rupert the Bear.
I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of you. The deal is you watch them all, no matter what. But yes, there's a bunch that were there's some were good and some were shit. Lamb Chops Play Along, I definitely just zoned out, but it still is formative enough that it's in there that I'm like, yeah, that was some. Is that a Canadian bit? No, Americans know what lamb chop is, right? Like
Yeah, no, I think Rupert is like British Canadian
that's
because
getting
he
in
was a
there.
British little shithead and he had the scarf.
Um, uh, I want to say PJ Ashley's Playhouse, which, yeah, totally. I'm sure that the YTV PJ show got exported to America at some point. That's
I don't know,
another.
man. When you say PJ,
Yeah, and
a
exactly.
lot of Americans just the brain turn off.
But any kids show where the host is talking to themselves via characters or like puppets is basically what we're describing with faking an AI or faking a voice and doing a fake podcast. Really, it's already
Are
been
Muppets
established.
the first VTuber?
No, but they are a form of VTubing.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Muppets are a form of VTubing. You can't pretend they're not. Um, yeah, everything Jim Henson. Yeah.
God, I love the Muppets. I wish I could hug every Muppet right now.
Um,
Except for Bert. Fuck Bert.
You know what was weird though? I was too young to understand like that it was a parody of a variety show. That was the one thing that always escaped me, was like I would tune into the Muppet Show and want and expect to see like Adventures of Kermit and Friends, you
And
know?
Big Bird and Grover and
Not
shit.
no, not
Well, no,
Big
I
Bird.
know, but like they're tangentially related. Like they're friends and they know each other and all that crap. And then it's just a fucking weird ass anti-variety show.
Yeah, and then and Statler and Waldorf would make fun of it, and it was just like it was a parody of like all the variety type shows that were on before then. But I was way too young to understand that, because to understand a variety show, you need to understand the concept of like late night,
Yeah.
from
So like
pre SNL, fucking Mary Tyler Moore, Dick Van Dyke. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of
so
referential shit that you need to get what Muppet Show is even going for, and it's
I
not just
remember
Kermit and Friends.
like 3 years ago, I was like, I'm gonna watch the Muppet Show, and so I watched a couple episodes, and I'm like, this is a puppet-based parody airing in the '70s of a type of program that no longer exists, that I never really got into.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so as a
absolutely.
result, it is the weirdest fucking thing in the world.
And I think that's why they did go on to eventually make shit like Muppet Babies, because they didn't really, like, kids were like me were not exactly getting why the show was so all over the place, and why there was no like continuity to what was going on. It's like you establish the characters and their relationships with each other, but otherwise, like, I don't understand a bit that's a reference to fucking yeah, old variety shows.
Yeah,
Um,
Kermit and Miss Piggy are talking about how what their fucking stupid pregnant frog babies are gonna look like, and meanwhile the newsflash comes on. Reagan got shot. Let's sing a song. Like, what the fuck is what? What the fuck
yeah.
is this?
Um, yeah, and I would say that like that also includes like even though variety shows kind of went away, like they came back in the form of like skit shows and things that are more like less on a stage and more outside, like anything like Benny Hill, fucking Monty Python, all that shit, you know, counts, and Chappelle Show counts, even though it's on stage presenting filmed bits, you know, and then Key and Peele and so on. So it's like that's basically what the variety show ends up being.
Yeah, it became the sketch comedy show. Basically.
Exactly, yeah. But Muppet Show was like enjoyed for its characters, despite not getting that bit at all. Um,
Then you get shit like Muppet Christmas Carol, which is probably the best version of Christmas Carol.
I like. I
It's
know.
so good.
So I know like the movie is also super beloved, but I completely forget what happens in it. Like, I want to say I saw it like on VHS at like a friend's place once or something, but I have no memory of the movie. I just know that it's like
Well, Michael Caine's a fucking piece of shit, and he
a good
doesn't want
one.
to give anybody no money. And then Gonzo and Rizzo are narrating it, and then it's just the same fucking story but Muppets. That's it. It's like fucking Muppet Treasure Island, but the difference is fucking Long John Silver, and that is fucking oh, what's his goddamn name? He's the best actor ever. He was in
Daniel
God, what's his fucking
Day-Lewis.
no, Tim Curry.
Oh, Tim Curry. Okay.
Tim Curry. And Tim Curry's just fucking Tim Currying it all over with the Muppets. God, I
So,
fucking love Tim Curry.
fucking yeah, the absolute goat. The thing that okay, Muppets is a brand. I don't know if they're doing this. I'm assuming they're not. But if I was the brand ambassador in charge of Jim Henson's Muppets, every one of those characters would have a Twitch channel with their own VTubing setup, with their face in the corner doing LPs on a
Oh
regular
yeah,
basis.
you
It's
know,
crazy
like
that
Cookie
if that's not
Monster
already
is
a thing.
doing. Cookie Monster needs to be doing LA Beast style food challenges.
Uh huh. Gonzo TV. right? Animal just spending 3 hours on a drum kit while people make requests, and then Animal just fucking botches everything and goes crazy.
Fozzie is uploading his friend's cam footage of just the absolute worst fucking sets that he's doing at open mic night in his local pub.
Hot Tub Miss Piggy.
Oh yeah,
Miss Piggy hot tub stream. Hire me. I'm making you money, guys.
It's right there.
What are you doing? Just like you get relevant, bring it in, and you just have like a more advanced like rig that has like the body setup and everything, and just like just Miss Piggy in the water and like all the and people donating and madness. Just absolutely like there's so much to go off of there. What are y'all doing?
It's been decades and decades, and still the appeal of what if we just had a regular program, but it was this fucking stupid puppet instead. It's great. I wish I was a Muppet. I have a dog that looks like a Muppet, but that's as close as I think I'm gonna get. Darn.
I'm sure over the years there's been some like Muppetification of us at some point. I feel like maybe I'm hallucinating.
You could have a variety gaming channel with Swedish Chef and call it Varg Skeletor.
I'm missing the reference, but okay.
I'm sure people will appreciate it.
Yeah. You absolutely. I mean, no. You know what I'm thinking there? I'm thinking, yeah, the Remerai art style is basically us as Muppets. Let's be real. That's more or less what's going on with that art style.
To fill you in, Wooly, that's Joel's Twitch username.
Okay. So that is a probable like. That is how you stay relevant. That is how you keep Muppets in the 2022.
I'm just happy. I'm just having good thoughts about Muppets. I love them. I watched Muppet Babies. That was weird. Feel like people that didn't grow up in the 90s are never going to understand just how fucking weird it was that the commodification of every property ever into a Saturday morning cartoon show was. Like R-rated films like RoboCop and Terminator and Aliens being turned into Saturday morning cartoon shows so they could make a shitzillion dollars on cheap piece of shit toys.
I want to say RoboCop and Alien are probably the most egregious ones, considering the source material. Like
RoboCop's wild.
Shit where you can sell toys, but you cannot show the kid the source material. RoboCop
Not even
top
close.
of the list. Alien probably second.
Those Alien toys were pretty good.
Yeah,
they were based off the Dark Horse comics.
Yeah, Predator coming in up third, which is why they all like hung out with each other and constantly overlapped. But yeah, and Toxic Crusaders, Toxic Avenger, that shit as well. Just the weirdest fucking like marketing push. But like at some point, if someone sits down and just goes like, "Here's a bright and colorful version of it," and it's gonna go, and like the kids are just gonna see the commercial and be like, "Oh yeah, that thing, that's cool," but don't think too hard about like the fact that you can't go watch where it came from. At least if your parents are doing their jobs, you know, I suppose.
So I've told this story before, and it was the absolute most confusing thing, where I wanted an alien toy because I saw some kind of alien thing. So I get the alien toys, and I got the Queen, and I got Hicks, and Hicks came with a sticker on it, and the sticker was hardcore. And I put the sticker on his rocket launcher, and I turn and I ask my mom what the word hardcore means. And she like blanches and goes, and ended up explaining to me that is when the camera is, this is the real explanation from my mother. That is when, if there's a kissing scene in a movie, they don't cut away when the people take their clothes off. And I went, why would he put that on his rocket launcher? And she's like, I don't know. It's just a. And I'm like, what? I
Okay.
don't. What? I
Uh,
don't get it. I'm 6.
that poor lady failed to grasp the situation, and you could have just gotten away with saying it's a really it means extreme. You could have just
Yeah.
done that. It's really extreme. That's a
She
that.
she was doing her best. She was doing her best.
Yeah.
That I mean, we can all laugh at the horrible situations we put our parents in by asking them the wrong question at the wrong time. Like my parents like coming into the room while my brother and I are like in a screaming match explaining how a baby comes out of a lady, and the argument is whether or not it bursts out of her chest through her belly button or if she throws it up on the floor. And we are 9 and 5 in this situation,
Nine
and
is
we're both.
nine is crazy old for
My
that
brother
conversation.
is an idiot, but also I guess they never had the talk with him. I was the belly button one,
Okay.
and my brother
Chest
thought
buster.
that yeah, I thought it just popped out. It was very like, and then because I had the alien toy with the chest
With the chest buster. And that's, if you're not teaching kids what's going on, they're going to contextually try to piece it together.
and my brother's like,
themselves.
no, you can't do that. You would die. You have to throw up the baby. And my parents are just standing there going, yeah, it comes out the belly button.
I mean, I don't remember a ton about my early misconceptions, but like I think that like I'm thinking back to a time when I definitely understood the mechanics of sex and then the fact that it resulted in a baby. But I remember
Yeah.
when I was young enough that I didn't understand the concept of like fertilization, and I kind of
Well,
thought
that's kind of complicated.
exactly. So what my based on the like the descriptions and the whatever that I had been taught and what I'd seen, I kind of remember thinking that's like, okay, there are like there's like basically like sperm like
Yeah.
just goes into like not even like an egg, but just the sperm is
Yeah.
just going to go into the stomach and become a baby.
Yeah, I mean that's
Which is
reasonable
more
as
or
a
less
as a kid.
yeah, but I kind of was just like, okay, so you put it inside a person and then suddenly it's just going to become a bait like it anyway.
I mean, yeah. I remember my mom like and dad laughing themselves to almost passing out because when I was my original I'm like 3 or 4 asked where do babies come from. Well, when a man and a lady love each other very much,
Mhm.
and they kiss a bunch,
Mhm.
and then the lady gets a baby. And you know what? As far as like explanation to a 4-year-old in 1990, you know what? That's fine, right?
Mhm.
That works for the worldview. Until I was 6, and I made out with my next door neighbor who was 7, and I came home and started to freak the fuck out. Started to fucking lose my shit. And my parents are like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm gonna have a baby!" And they're like, "What?"
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Well,
Mhm.
you told me that if you love somebody a lot, and and they're like, "Oh,
Mhm.
okay, well,
And then that
no."
and then that episode of Family Matters is on TV where Urkel kisses Laura and she gets pregnant every
Yeah.
time they kiss, and it reinforces that fear.
I don't remember that.
Oh, that was a thing. There was a
That
there
was
was
a
a there was a weird sequence. That show went on for it got weird. Like there was the whole bit where essentially Jaleel White no longer wanted to be plagued as Urkel, where he just
so
became
he wanted to be
Stefan.
Stefan.
Exactly, and then
Yeah.
they split the two apart and go into multiple seasons of like him trying to de-nerdify his reputation. There's a point might have been either a dream sequence early on or something, but like there's Laura and Urkel are married, and then like they have a billion babies, and then every time they kiss, she gets pregnant again. That stuck in my brain. I remember seeing that and went like, "What?"
That's that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
That's super strange.
I think it was one of those like one of those dream sequences.
I bet somebody on that show thought that was really cool to think about.
But maybe, but I doubt it because that was pre-internet, so people didn't even know what they were into yet. But it definitely had
you're
a
right,
scene.
Woolie. Nobody knew what they was into before
A lot of
the
people
internet
knew what they
happened.
were into, but a lot of people didn't know until they were shown that moment and went, "Oh, right." Remember the Minerva Mink conversation?
I do.
Right?
Yeah, so this is the thing. It's like the internet didn't create all of this weird new stuff.
It
What it
unlocked
did was allow people to go, "Hey, what if I did this?" and put that message out far enough that somebody would actually respond and go, "Hey, I could do that too.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a good idea."
So for everyone that already knew they were down with the big stomach growing, there was somebody
Yeah.
who saw that scene, and I want to say there was a whistle. I want to say there was a as the stomach grew out,
like a voodoo slide whistle.
I maybe I'm hallucinating it, but I feel like my memory of that scene saw her just go whoa, and then like that would have someone saw that and went like okay.
Yeah.
And they didn't know about themselves before. That's what I'm trying to say. Taking a step back though, when you're talking about that conversation of like, oh yeah, so when a man and a woman, when a mom and a daddy love each other, blah da 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 da, yada yada. Okay, so that's layer one of the conversation coming at me, and then I go, pause, think.
Yeah.
Okay, so then after Adam and Eve had Cain and Abel,
Oh, Jesus.
what happened next?
Yeah. You know, don't worry about it. Really,
That was a
don't
fun
worry
one.
about it.
That was a fun one. That was straight because you get the details, but then you fill in the lore, which is real, which absolutely happened, and you go.
I had a really similar discussion with a teacher, a Sunday school teacher, about Noah's Ark, which was how big is the Ark? And it's like 2 of every animal. How many people were on the Ark? Like 100?
50
and I'm
cubits.
Like, 8, and I'm like 8 or 9, and I'm like, well, but wouldn't you get all inbreedy pretty fast, like people marrying their cousins? And she's like, no. I'm like, why? How? Wait, are you saying that every dog on the planet came from 2 dogs? Wouldn't that arc be really big? That'd be really big, right? And then be like, well, don't worry about it. It's just a story. But you just told me it really happened. You just told me. They asked me not to come back to Sunday school because I was ruining it for the other kids.
I mean, the idea was that like the magic that allowed every animal to get on the ark to begin with and keep them there and stop them from killing each other would also allow their pregnancies to not be horribly inbred.
I just remembered like the fucking look of disgust on my Sunday school teacher's face when she's explaining all the Jesus powers. And he could do this and that. I'm like, oh, you mean like Santa? And just this fucking, yeah, like Santa, like just this violent, just like, ugh.
So the thing about the size of the ark too is that like that's one of the weird things in that like it would have been much easier to just leave it described as a large boat and that would have been it. But they specify the length.
Like meters, right?
They specify 300 cubits by 50 cubits, and Like you can kind of go and crunch the numbers based on the old amounts.
That's only 510 feet long.
And you have to kind of, okay, but it's like, hold on though, but wait, is that a biblical cubit? Because there's now theologians will discuss what a cubit meant back in that context versus the cubit as discussed in whatever, like Victorian era stuff, you know. There's a whole.
I'll be real. I'm looking at a photo of a accurately recreated Noah's Ark. If that thing was built in the fucking year negative 2000, yeah, no, that would be an astonishing, absolutely mythic fucking achievement.
Yeah,
right. That'd be crazy.
Like 450 feet. Holy shit.
It's like half the size of the Titanic. Like, that's fucking wild.
But yeah, then you just, you know, again, the magic kept everything else from working, and don't ask about the dinosaurs, and it's fine.
Well, no, it's not magic, right? It's God's divine.
You know, of course. But yeah, and then of course the whatever result you conclude from the moment Cain and Abel are hanging around, and suddenly it's not really Cain and Abel anymore, so there's even less choice.
Yeah.
You have to kind of just go, okay, well, it eventually starts working out if you wait long enough.
Yeah, you wait. You got to go through like 10 generations, but then it's fine.
You fast forward enough time, and then it's okay, you know. And then you reset it again, because then it's all got to be Noah and Noah's kids. You know,
yeah,
because that bottlenecks the diversity, and then you have to reset it at the ark, and then it has to do the exact same thing again after many generations, when people have already probably gotten a little bit weird about it. But then again,
this family tree's getting a little thorny.
Yeah,
it's getting a little. Yeah,
more than one story about the family tree turning back in on itself in those same Old Testament books, though. So, you know, anyways, good stuff.
It's probably. Hey, let me ask you a question. Did your parents ever tell you something that was like an absolute absurd lie as a goof? Don't say God. And and like just to wait to see it hit you later in life?
Well, yes. I was told that I was going to Grenada for 2 weeks.
Well, I'm talking about like a funny little story, not like a. I'm talking about like my example. My example was gonna be when I was a little kid. My dad told me that chocolate milk came from brown cows.
Oh, yeah,
right,
yeah, totally,
and then I was like, way too old when I found out that was not the case. I was like 10 when it finally came out of my mouth, and somebody went, "What the fuck?" Right?
Totally.
You know, fun little stories with
cute little anecdotes.
Cute little anecdote.
Absolutely. You know, the point at which you're too young to understand what's going on, but you're just old enough to understand that you should probably stop asking.
Oh.
You know?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Cute little
You know,
woo!